It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you and welcome to the Science Bowl, the science quiz program here in the Prince George's County Public Schools, where we test scientific literacy. Today, 2 fine schools. Let's meet them now. First, from Magnolia Elementary, please meet our contestants, Fahil Cameron, Scott Mason, and Sebastian Peters. And from Northview Elementary, here they are, Sarah McFarland, Kendall Bryant, and Wilfredo Cadasio, straightening his tie over there. Here are the categories of questions we use on Science Bowl.
Okay, Mr. Z, here's today's categories. Green things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing and digesting your food. Let's get physical. Questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's Science Potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
Here on Science Bowl, our game board is arranged according to the difficulty of the questions. The easier ones, they're worth 5 and 10 points. The tougher ones, 15, 20, ultimately 25. Toughest question of them all. Both of our teams start out at 50 points. No penalties ever for incorrect answers. Into the 2 rounds, we will have a challenger for University Park, with the thought that one of those 2 schools will go on to become the first of our 4 finalists in this year's elementary school competition. Let's make sure everything's working the way it should. Scott, would you try your buzzer, please? Good luck to you and to Sebastian and to Vahil. And Kendall, would you try yours? It too seems to be in fine working order. Good luck to you, Sarah and Wilfredo. Congratulations, all of you guys, for being here. Northview, this is your 3rd time this year. Magnolia, your 1st appearance. You got a bye because you did so well last year. I know we're going to have a good game. Let's have it. We have alphabetical order here to determine who goes first. M before N. So Magnolia and Scott, let's play the bowl.
Science potpourri for 20, please. Potpourri
for 20 points. Teams, this T-initial kind of tropical storm that forms in the Pacific and the Indian Oceans, Magnolia.
Tornado.
Not tornado, good try. I'll finish the question for Northview. These T-initial kinds of storms that form in the Pacific and the Indian Ocean are the equivalent of the hurricanes in the Atlantic and form the title of the new book about Tintin called Thunderous What's?
Typhoons.
Typhoons is right. Good comeback there, Kendall. Nice try, Scott. Go green.
Dateline Science for 15.
Dateline for 15 points. Teams, a letter from this famous inventor recently was auctioned off for $43,000. It was a letter to his parents telling them how to ground the telephone he had just invented so that they wouldn't get hit with lightning. Who invented the telephone? Northview.
Alexander Graham Bell.
You got that right in his letter. $43,000. So that means save all your correspondence, guys. Good answer. Good. Green.
Dateline Science for 20.
Dateline for 20 points. Teams, it was back in 1846 that this E-initial chemical was first used as an anesthetic when people went into surgery. E-initialed. That would be ether. Ether. Try again, green.
Let's get physical for 10.
Get physical for 10 points. Teams, the beautiful northern lights, the aurora borealis that we saw recently up near the North Pole, all created because of a storm on what celestial body far away? Magnolia.
I'll pass to Sebastian. The sun.
The sun, absolutely. A solar storm. It also, we thought, would wreak havoc with a lot of the devices we use here, and certainly planes avoided the North Pole because of their navigational devices. All right. Nice answer, Sebastian. Go red.
Let's get physical for 20.
Let's get physical for 20 points. Teams, the asteroids, which are the so-called minor planets, can be found between what 2 major planets? All right, the asteroids are found between what 2 planets? Northview.
Jupiter and Saturn.
Good try. Not quite. The asteroids, the so-called minor planets, are actually found between what two major planets, Scott?
Uranus and Neptune?
Mars and Jupiter. Mars and Jupiter. Try again. Pick another question, Scott.
Body system for 20.
Body systems for 20 points. Teams, if you're allergic to peanuts or bee stings, you should carry with you an EpiPen, which stands for epinephrine. Epinephrine is another name for what hormone that we naturally... Yes, Magnolia.
Adrenaline?
Adrenaline. Nicely done, red team. Yes, indeed. Go Magnolia. Let's check that score at the moment. 80 for Magnolia, 85 Northview. Good game going. Scott, you choose.
Science potpourri for 15, please.
Potpourri for 15 points. Teams, the catfish that live in the Amazon River, unlike catfish elsewhere, have developed giant spines and hooks so that the piranha that live nearby can attack and eat them. That kind of change that took place in those catfish is known as a what? Known as a what, Magnolia?
Adaptation?
Adaptation. Nicely done. Just what I wanted to hear. Good. With that, you go into a slight lead. Red team, please.
Green things for 20, please.
Green things for 20 points. Teams, algae, along with tiny crustaceans, are part of what kind of P-initialed creatures that float in the ocean and are food for animals, Northview?
Parasite?
Not parasite. Good try. What P-initialed kinds of foods that include algae and small crustaceans that live in the ocean are also the nemesis of Mr. Crab on SpongeBob?
Plankton. Plankton?
Plankton is your P. That's right. I saw the light bulbs go off over there. Good. Red.
Zoo parade for 20, please.
Zoo parade for 20 points. Teams, look at the monitor in the studio, if you would, please, for this question. Teams, this is called a tarsier. It's a very old primate that lives in Southeast Asia. It is called tarsier because it has a very long tarsus bone, which is located where on its body? Where is the tarsus bone, Magnolia?
The tail.
Not the tail. Good try. The tarsier has a very long tarsus bone. That's where its name comes from. Where is the tarsus bone? Kendall?
In the finger?
The feet. The feet. Those are your tarsal bones. The carpals are up here in the forelimbs or the paws. Good. Go red.
Science potpourri for 25, please.
Potpourri for 25. The big one in that category, teams, is as follows. If you use a magic marker or a highlighter and yellow highlight things on a page, they work. Those highlighters work because the ink does not get absorbed by the paper, and also the ink is drawn through a filter, almost like a cigarette filter, by this C-initial kind of action that also causes red dye to go up a celery stalk. What kind of action is that called, where tiny tubes let liquids flow upwards? Northview.
A capillary?
You got that right, young lady. Absolutely right. Capillary action it is. And with that buzzer and with that answer, we come to the end of the first round. Almost a dead heat. Northview 110. Magnolia 115. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be back with round two in just a moment.
Diet and exercise are never easy. Then again, neither is dying. Sadly, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and stroke kill nearly 1 million people a year. Most of these deaths could be prevented. Please, talk to your doctor about your risk for diabetes and heart disease. And if your doctor recommends lifestyle changes or medication, listen. The reason so many die is because not enough are willing to change. You can stop it, starting right now. It's your life. Listen to your doctor. Eat better. Get moving.
I always thought being a good mother meant raising my baby myself. But when I got pregnant, I realized I wasn't ready to be a parent. So I did something I thought I could never do. I chose adoption. It was really hard, but I know my baby is with a loving family and has a very bright future.
Sometimes choosing adoption is being a good mother. Visit us at ichooseadoption.org.
And welcome back to Science Bowl. You might have seen some of our contestants doing this up there. Our judges always try to keep everybody loose. We do a little shakeout routine, and it helps a lot. Helps me, too. Nice to have you with us today. Hope you're able to answer these questions and keep up with these 6 outstanding young people. Let's go over and meet the Magnolia. First appearance this year. Magnolia, a former county champion. Maybe you'll repeat again this year. I know you guys have that in mind. Tell us a little bit about Magnolia. Who's the principal there, Scott?
Mrs. Phyllis Gillens.
Absolutely. I know she's rooting for you, and your sponsor, Mr. Robert Allen, always has been sending us great teams. He is the hardest working guy I know, and I know that you think a lot of him, and I know you practice with him an awful lot. Scott, tell me about Magnolia. I've been to your school a number of times. Everything seems to be great. What do you especially like about Magnolia?
I like all of the different extracurriculum activities. Like we have a step team, a flag team, and a robotics team, and they're doing pretty well.
Wow, I didn't know all that. Thanks for sharing that with us. Tell us a little bit about Scott. What do you do in your spare time?
I like to play sports and make good grades, basically.
Absolutely, and you do make good grades. And what do you hope to do someday, Scott?
I would like to be the CEO of my own corporation.
Yeah, and you said you wanted it to be a service organization of some kind, right?
Yes.
I'm sure you're a good leader. You'd be a good business owner, too. Sebastian, nice to have you with us today. You told me that science is one of your favorite subjects, right?
Yes.
That's just great. I'm sure you've had great science teachers, Mr. Allen included. Tell me, would you like to be a professional scientist someday?
Yes, I would like to be a biochemist.
Biochemist. You told me earlier you'd like to go to Johns Hopkins.
Yeah.
And they take only the elite students, which you are, so keep up your good work. What do you do in your spare time, Sebastian?
I like to build models, mainly RV models.
Yeah, that's just great. All right, you're a real asset to the team. You keep up your good work. Fahil, nice to have you here. This young man looks comfortable on camera. It's because he's used to it, right?
Yes.
What do you do at Magnolia?
Well, at Magnolia, well, first of all, I'm in the Science Bowl. Second of all, I used to be in the Magnolia News Show.
Oh, so you've got a good voice. And you reported on sports, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see you doing that. Would you like to be a professional broadcaster someday?
No, not really. I would like to become a certain type of doctor.
Have you thought about any specialties?
Yes, I have. I've thought of the neurologist.
And we were talking earlier about that, and you said you're just fascinated by maybe reconnecting disrupted nervous systems. So many people who have lost the ability to move because of accidents or whatever. I think that's a great field of research. Keep up your good work. You're going to be successful at that, Fahil. Let's go over and meet the Northview team. This is their 3rd appearance this year. You guys have done phenomenally well. Tell me, what's the secret to your success, Kendall?
We watch games during practice, and we talk about current events that we found over the weekend or during the week.
So you're a real team. You're always talking to each other. You live and breathe the Science Bowl. And Northview, by the way, is over there in Bowie, and your principal is?
Mr. Simmons.
Wonderful. And you have 2 sponsors. Who are they?
Mr. Moffat and Mrs. Grove. She just had her baby.
She certainly did. And little Charles Robert.
Yes.
And I hope she's going to be watching this program. I think she will be, even though she's home. Mr. Moffat is just tremendous, keeping up all the practicing, and we wish Mrs. Grove all the best, and Charles Robert, too. Thank you, Kendall, for mentioning that. What do you want to do someday?
I want to be a chemist.
Chemist? Yeah, well, you have a biochemist over here in Sebastian, a chemist here. What do you do in your spare time?
I read and I draw.
Wow. You have great confidence, and you've got a great speaking voice, Kendall. You're just a wonderful captain.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Sarah, nice to have you back. You're an accomplished young lady as well. You're a dancer. You're a singer. What else do you do?
At my school, I'm on the news show.
Oh, so you, like Fahil, are used to being on camera, yes?
Yes.
Do you do the morning announcements?
Yes, and like 2 or 3 times I sing on the morning announcements.
You sing? What do you sing?
I sing Lift Every Voice, and I sung a Christmas song.
That's wonderful. You know, they say the #1 fear in the world is public speaking, and I think public singing is probably right up there. So you're a courageous young lady, and I bet you're very good, too. Well, Fredo, you're welcome. Well, Fredo, nice to have you here. You look great, as do your colleagues there in your spiffy-looking lab coat. Tell us about yourself. What do you want to do someday?
I want to be a weapons developer for the Air Force.
Yeah, weapons developer. Now, you play video games, don't you?
Yeah.
So did you kind of get an idea when you were doing that you might? Yeah. I can see that. I think the Air Force counts on young people like yourself having that skill and that familiarity when you get into a real-life situation. I admire you. What do you do in your spare time if you're not playing video games?
I like to draw and read, and I like to play tennis.
Play tennis, yeah. And you said that you told me earlier that there are courts right outside of Northview, right? Good exercise. All right, let's get back to our game. Almost a tie, 115 Magnolia, 110 Northview. Lots of points to give away. Last correct answer came from the green team. So Kendall, start us out.
Dateline signs for 25.
Dateline for 25. The big one in that category teams back in 1993. President Bill Clinton said the most wondrous map ever produced by mankind was a map that had just been done of the inside of the human body, showing the what? Showing the what, Magnolia, for 25 points. You can pad your lead.
Skeletal system?
Not the skeletal system. 1990s, Bill Clinton said this was the most wondrous map ever produced by mankind. It was a look inside the human body at the what?
The digestive system?
The human genome. All of the genes were mapped. That was the big news back then. Try again, green.
Dateline signs for 10.
Dateline for 10 points. Teams Amundsen beat Scott to this place on planet Earth where the minimum temperature is usually, yes, Northview.
Antarctica?
Be more specific.
South Pole.
South Pole, absolutely right. Minimum temperature minus 14.6 degrees is what he wrote in his journal. Thanks, Wilfredo, for your help there. Go green.
Science potpourri for 10.
Potpourri for 10 points. Teams, the Lasker Awards are the so-called American equivalents of these more famous science awards. Northview.
Nobel Prizes.
Nobel Prizes, absolutely right. The Laskers are the American Nobels. Nicely done, Kendall. Go green.
Let's get physical for 15.
For 15 points in that category. Teams, this sounds like a tricky question. Why is it a strange question to ask the temperature at which carbon dioxide melts? Magnolia.
Because carbon dioxide is a gas, it can't melt.
It can't melt as a gas. Absolutely right. And if it is a solid, dry ice, it never really melts. It sublimates. It goes from a solid to a gas. Thank you. All right, you guys are back in. Tie score, 130 all. Scott.
Let's get physical for 25.
Get physical, 25. Big one in that category. Teams, when President Lincoln was assassinated, they embalmed him and took him around the country so people could see his body. They had no formaldehyde back then, but they did have this poisonous chemical with the chemical symbol AS that they used to embalm Lincoln. What chemical is symbolized AS? Okay, no penalty for trying here, Magnolia. What you think?
Acid?
Not acid, no, it's a good try. A specific chemical with the chemical symbol AS. Want to give it a try, Kendall?
Arsenic?
You got that right. It is arsenic. Nicely done. Boy, you look at the surprise on her face. Nicely done, Kendall. Go.
Body systems for 15.
Body system, 15 points. Teams, multiple choice question. South African sprinter Oscar Pistorius runs on artificial legs because he was born without one of these bones in his lower legs. Was he missing his ulna, his fibula, or his scapula? Which one was he missing, which necessitated artificial legs, Scott?
Fibula?
You got that right. The fibula is right. The scapula is up here, his shoulder blade, and the other bone was in the arm. Go red.
Zoo parade for 15, please.
Zoo parade, 15 points. Teams, pink elephants are fantasies, but there's a real pink elephant they found in Africa. It's actually one of these kinds of animals, which is normally all white. Northview?
Albino.
It's an albino. It's pink because we're looking at the elephant's capillaries that you can see through its clear skin. 170, 145. Advantage green. Go.
Zoo parade for 25.
Zoo parade for 25. Big one in that category. Teams, a multiple choice question. Teams, baby birds that are born blind and helpless, like most songbirds, are known as altricial kinds of birds. But birds that are born ready to rock and roll from the time they're hatched, like baby ducks or baby chickens, are known as preternatural birds, precious birds, or precocious birds. Which of those three, Magnolia?
Precocious?
Precocious is right. The opposite of altricial. Nicely done. You're back up there. Magnolia, 170. Tie score again. Scott.
Let's body systems for 10, please.
Body systems for 10 points. Teams, what used to be just decorative is now electronic, as some scientists are putting silicon strips in this body art that can be picked up by a computer to measure your heartbeat. Magnolia.
Pulse?
Not pulse, no. What is this body art that used to be decorative and now is electronic? Now scientists are putting electronic strips in this body art and using it to measure things like your pulse or your heartbeat.
Tattoos.
Tattoos is right. Yes, good. Go. Green.
Body systems for 25.
Body systems for 25 points. Teams, what same P-initialed word can mean some of the gunk that collects on your teeth, a clot that forms in a blood vessel, Northview.
Plaque.
Plaque, yes. Or a trophy you take home for winning the Science Bowl. A plaque, all three. Go green.
Zoo parade for 10.
Zoo parade, 10 points. Look at the monitor in the studio if you would, please. Teams, this is the New Zealand kiwi, a flightless bird that is called an honorary mammal because it has nostrils at the end of its beak and it has feathers that look like what? Magnolia.
Fur.
Fur, absolutely right. That's why it's an honorary mammal. Nice teamwork on the red team. Go, Magnolia.
Green things for 25.
Green things for 25 points, teams. I will give you 25 points if you can give me 2 of the 3 parts of a seed that are found on all seeds. All seeds are made up of 3 things. Give me 2. All right, Magnolia, with this, we could have a tie game if you get 2 of the 3 things that you find in all seeds. 2 of 3 things.
The embryo and coat.
The embryo and the coat is absolutely right. The other is the food source. And with that, we have a tie game at 2:05. We have just a few questions left. You pick, Scott.
Green things for 15.
Green things for 15 points. Teams, what same word means the tiny leaves that cover a bud in the winter and the exterior plates that we find on a fish? Magnolia.
Scales.
Scales is right. Yes, scale leaves and the scales on a fish. Red team, please.
Green things for 10.
Green things for 10 points, teams. A little bit of this stimulant is found in white and green tea, but the most amount is found in black tea. What stimulant am I asking about, Northview?
Caffeine.
Caffeine is right. Yes, ma'am. Good. Go.
Dateline science for 5.
Dateline for 5 points, teams. Your question is as follows. Pigs, mice, cattle, cats, and now coyotes have all been reproduced this way, all following Magnolia. Cloned in the footsteps of Dolly the sheep. Nicely done. Go red.
Science potpourri for 5, please.
Potpourri for 5 points, teams. In his State of the Union address, President Obama said he would like scientists to come up with better life vests for cops and soldiers to stop these speeding projectiles. Magnolia.
Bullets.
Bulletproof vests. Better ones is what he wants. Yes, good. Go. 4 left.
Let's get physical for 5, please.
Get physical for 5 points. Teams, your question is as follows. According to a recent survey in England, the most asked question by little children is, Mommy and Daddy, why is this satellite sometimes out during the day? Northview.
The moon.
The moon is right. Yes, good. Go green.
Body systems for 5.
Body systems, 5 points, teams. Even if someone can hear very well, if you really want to make a point, you say, read my what? Magnolia.
Lips.
Lips is right. Good. Go red.
Green things for 5, please.
Green things for 5 points, teams. Maybe the plant was juicing because when Jack planted those bean seeds and that stalk got as big as it did, it might have been on what? Northview.
Steroids?
Steroids is right. Yes, indeed. Last question of the game. Zoo parade for 5 points, teams. The new movie, The Big Miracle, about 3 trapped gray whales under the ice in the Arctic. It was a drama because the whales were in danger of what? Magnolia. Yes, sir?
I'll pass to Sebastian.
Losing their oxygen.
Losing their oxygen and drowning and suffocating is absolutely right. Our game is over. We'll be back with a wrap-up in just a moment. Don't you go away.
Across America, service learning is helping students improve their grades and their communities. Service learning makes school exciting by connecting the classroom with community service projects.
Before service learning, I was just an ordinary student, causing mischief during class. After service learning started, I got so involved into it, I started paying attention more, picked up my grades.
Okay, very good.
Service learning absolutely drives academic success.
Working together, students solve real problems, build new skills, and apply their knowledge in a whole new way.
The great thing about service learning is it gives you this opportunity to go out into the world and do things hands-on.
Inside the classroom and out, service learning opens new doors and brings learning to life. Service learning can make a difference in your school. Visit Learn and Serve America at learnandserve.gov to find out how.
needed help paying for college. I've always wanted to be a teacher. I used to make worksheets for my friends to do. No one ever wanted to come over. My guidance counselor told me about federal student aid, and my mom helped me fill out the free application. I got the grants and loans that made school possible. There is a way to pay for school. You just have to find it. My name is Caitlin. I'm going to be a special education teacher. I'm going to live my dream.
For years, scientists have explored remote corners of the Earth, searching for exotic substances that might help prevent cancer. At last, man has discovered a secret place where powerful remedies can actually be found. Medical research shows that a vegetarian diet, rich in fruits, vegetables and whole grains, can help prevent many types of cancer. Wherever you live, cancer prevention is as close as your grocery store. To learn more, call 866-906-WELL.
Welcome back, everyone. One of the most exciting Science Bowl matches we've had in a long, long time. Testifying to the great skill of these young people. It was hard to keep up with them. Not only are they smart young people, but they're great sports, and we just love having you all here today. Like that epic tennis match the other day when it went for 5 hours, the winner said, "Too bad there aren't two winners because you both have won here today." Our final tally, Northview 225, Magnolia 240. The team in yellow, congratulations. You're going to go up against University Park. Fahil and Scott and Sebastian. Mr. Allen, the beaming sponsor back there with all of his minions, Farida and Rebecca and Daisy and Samuel and Anthony. And who else? Do I get everybody? And Jonna, thank you very much. And over here at Northview, I want to see some smiles. You guys are fantastic. Sarah and Kendall and Wilfredo. Come on, some bigger smiles. You guys are great. Megan, congratulations to you too. And Mr. Moffat, thank you for being here. And our best to Mrs. Grove too and her young future Science Bowl contestant. Thank you all for being here. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.